yourself.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. There he is, the man.
Oh.
So welcome, everybody. We'll get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Life Aid Voice Project Town Hall on free speech. I'll give get a few remarks here, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. The promise of America is a great one. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It takes hard work, sacrifice, and accountability. We have not always lived up to that promise for some, and today we're going to walk a mile in someone's shoes as we discuss how to strengthen and improve our communities here in America. Some of you will not agree with or understand everything that's said today. Some of it will make you angry, potentially shock you, but just we're here to listen. As I always say, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, use proportional. Please understand that we are here to listen and learn, provide positive solutions, find common ground, try to understand our differences. While we do not need to agree on everything, we need to find respect for one another on a basic human level. There are people who have an economic interest in chaos, and this is not their place. We seek to elevate the discussion, educating ourselves on our ABCs, and evolving to improve and strengthen our communities. So our town hall today will go till 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 Pacific. All audience members, please mute yourself unless you're called upon and unless you're on the panel. All speakers are asked to keep their remarks to about 1 minute, so this will allow for interaction and questions. All questions, please type into the chat box, and the moderators will get to as many as possible. Remember, there's no political statements. We don't care who you're voting for president. This is a positive, respectful dialogue on how to improve our communities by being more kind and civil to those we don't know, don't look like, or don't agree with. If for some reason you have a hard time following these rules, you will be removed from the discussion. We're going to have quite a few new people today, so always got to remind everybody the guidelines. And with that, we're going to get started. When we talk about freedom of speech, especially in this cancel culture environment, we see oftentimes that people say things or give interviews or do things with the best of intentions, and then for some reason, if the political PC police don't agree with you, they want to harass you, shut you up, cancel you, or in some cases lately, burn down your business. And so we have we have a special guest. As most of you know, the city of Louisville right now is sort of ground zero, or the current ground zero, because it seems to change by the week. The city of Louisville is undergoing a lot of rioting, destruction, burning, businesses, and so forth in the wake of the Breonna Taylor grand jury situation. So one of the local business owners we're lucky to have here from Louisville, he became an internet sensation coincidentally when he was standing in front of his business in Louisville with his Grunt Style t-shirt. Grunt Style is a company that is run by a ex-Army first sergeant out of San Antonio, Texas. We know those guys pretty well, so I thought it was kind of ironic there that he was getting into it with some protesters who were we've seen sort of this physical altercation, provoking that these protesters are doing, and I'm gonna let Fadi tell his story, but just wanted to try to introduce him. He is an immigrant from the country of Jordan, came to America seeking a better life, and with that, I'll turn it over to you, Fadi.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Story. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want.
You tell me.
Just start from the beginning. Tell us all a little bit about yourself, how you came to America, why you came to America, and then, kind of how things unfolded last week.
All right. Well, how I came to America. 23 years ago, we moved here from Jordan, me and my parents. And I lived in California, believe it or not, in the city of Laverne for about 15 years, I would say, close to that. And I decided to leave California. And I came over here about 10 years ago, and I've been here since. Fell in love with the city, but now it's kind of, I don't know what to do. Let's put it that way.
So talk a little bit about the business that you started. You have two businesses, right? You had two different locations. Is that correct?
I do have one location, and I was trying to expand, and I had to go to, basically, I was supposed to move in to the new location yesterday, but it got burnt on a Friday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning by somebody. So far, that's what we have, kind of information that we have right now. Somebody burned it.
Okay, so that was on Friday night?
Friday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And then when did the confrontation in front of your current business, when did that take place?
Friday afternoon. No, Friday night, actually.
So talk a little bit about what happened and how it came about, and just kind of, because not everybody I think has seen the story. I tried to post a link. I'll try to find it right now so people can watch the video, but just walk us through it, please.
I mean, this is not the first time I had a confrontation with them. I always mind my own business. I stay in the front of my business with my rifle, protecting it, because we've been having a lot of issues in the city, which is looting, breaking in, destroying, burning, you name it, even attacking people at some point. Well, on that night, exactly, let's put it this way, I was standing out there. I don't know, probably most of you saw the video, and I was just laying on my window, minding my own business. Usually they walk by and they keep going, but at this time they wanted me to say stuff, so they walked up to me and they tried to force me to say stuff. And I was like, nobody can intimidate me in any way or shape or form. Nobody can make me say anything that I don't want to say. And we got a confrontation with that female. Actually, the first one, it was the guy that kept telling me, does Black Lives Matter to you or anything like that? I was like, if you're a human being, a good human being, you matter to me. And he didn't like the answer, so he asked me again, and I answered him the same exact thing. Then the girl, she started telling me, she got in my face, and she started telling me that, does Breonna Taylor matter? I was like, does she? Does it matter? And she kept going back and forth, and she pulled up that card, basically the color card, which is, I told her straight out, I don't care about color. I don't see color. I don't believe in color. I see you as a human being. And they didn't like the answer. And one of basically the big boys that handles the protesters basically told them, back off, leave him alone. He's here to protect his business. Let it go. Let's walk. And they kept going. Less than 30 seconds later, I had maybe at least about 40 or 50 police officers around me, plus the helicopter on top, that's something I really appreciate from LMPD, because they've been trying to do their job, and every time they try, basically they get a word from the top, stand down, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
This is the protest group, correct?
to stand down, no, we're talking about LMPD, which is
Oh,
Louisville
okay.
Metro Police Department. They cannot do their job right. If you want my personal opinion on this, it's all politic in the city right now. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously, I don't think we have anybody here on the call that's from Louisville or um, has seen anything like that. I mean, we've talked about some of the different protests in different cities over the course since the end of May when this all started with in Minneapolis. So you're kind of the first business owner that we've had on to talk about it, and because we're talking about free speech and how these folks are trying to um, coerce you into saying something, and you stood up to them and said what you said about, you're into human beings, which is, I think most of us would agree, was a pretty good answer.
yep. And plus, let me give you some information. I've been in my store for the past 125 days and 125 nights just to protect my place. Just to show you basically how dangerous is the situation around the country. I am not the only one who's been suffering in the city of Louisville. If you go on my page, you will see how the city of Louisville is. I posted some pictures. At one point, the streets are completely empty. It's like a war zone. And when the night falls, basically everything goes to a crazy mode. And I mean, it's getting very, very dangerous. This is not protest. This is basically a cluster, if you know what I'm saying. I am exhausted, by the way. I did show up to Carson show yesterday, Tucker Carson, and I came. They picked me up from the store, and on the way to the car, basically because everything's blocked off. The driver was being harassed, and when they saw me, she got more harassed, basically. And I jumped in the car and I told her to leave. And I have to be like basically strapped all the time. All the time. I had people, they put my information online, and they put my addresses basically on everything, basically. Um, I got death threats. I've been called names. I've been going through it all. I mean, they came in at one point uh, with a piece of paper that has demands on it, like a mafia style demands that says, oh, we have to hire people from us, blah, blah, blah. And you have to give us a percentage to the community, our community, which is, it's not one community, it's a whole different community. Just to show you how they basically put themselves in a separate place. They think they're different than everybody else. I don't know, man. I hope everybody takes a lesson from this and start taking over our cities and try to probably educate the misguided people in this country, which is, by the media, the politicians, and all that crap, if I could say that.
Well, we are talking about free speech here.
I know it's just like I don't wanna be a big mouth. I don't want to show myself like a big mouth. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh, we need to do something about this. I mean, when I became a citizen, I swore an oath to defend this country from foreign enemy and domestic. I do have my rights, and as I said on TV yesterday, I'm a free man, and everybody should appreciate what they have in this country right now, and should fight for everything that we supposed to stand for, and stop being sheeps. Because the way everything's going, it doesn't look that good, but I hope it gets better anytime soon. Any questions?
Yeah, we got a few questions. First of all, thanks for coming on. So
Sure.
do you have a family, like a wife or kids or anything, or what?
I am not married. I'm single right now. I do have my brother and my sister-in-law and a 6 months old baby that they have living with me, because you know how the economy right now at my house. And my brother is basically, so far, he's doing a good job protecting the house at this point. And I'm protecting the business that basically pays for all the bills. Actually doesn't pay for the bills anymore. I'm being very honest.
So do you have any idea why they singled you out?
Because I am the only one who stood my ground in this city, basically. And I do have a lot of friends from LMPD that they show up. I give them, like, I try to help them out, give them drinks, sometimes use my bathroom and stuff like that, because they've been working round the clock. Like, they're doing 14, 15-hour shifts sometimes. They're human beings, man. I couldn't stop myself, at least try to support them in any way or shape or form that I could do. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably reason number two that I've been basically attacked, because, you know, I always have people coming in here, you know, whenever they have a break and they want to eat something, they will get the chance to basically sit down on a chair and eat their food and drink something. And it's a sad reality right now that we don't appreciate what they're doing. I'm not denying the fact that there's some bad apples out there. And I don't think that there is any police officers, any of those police officers that wakes up in the morning and says, how many fucking people I'm going to shoot today. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. You threaten anybody by any means, they have to react to it. That's human beings' nature. And it pisses me off how law enforcement are being treated. It's pissing me off if somebody's trying to speak his mind or saying something that they don't agree with, he gets attacked. It doesn't make any sense, since they have an opinion and they cannot listen to another opinion. It's just, it's sad. It's very, very bad right now.
Hey, John, I've got Don Miller on the phone right now, and his son is a police officer with the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department. He'd like to say a couple things, if that's okay.
You bet.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Don. Yeah, Fadi, your shop is in Louisville, right?
Yes, in downtown Louisville.
Yeah. So my son is a lot of.
Hey, Daryl, you want to just have him call into the chat?
Yeah, Don, you may want to call into the chat. But what he said is he's with the what district, John? Or Don?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you better. But what district? What? He's with the 4th Division, and he mentioned you. His son, my best friend's son, mentioned you, Fadi.
Yeah, in the 4th
Okay.
Division.
You were out. He was
I know a lot of them in the 4th
store,
Division.
and none of the people would screw with his store because he was defending it.
Yeah, he remembers you, and he remembers that you were actually defending your store,
Hey,
and he appreciated that.
hey,
So,
Daryl, I put the phone number in there if you want to have them call in.
Yeah.
'Cause this could be
yeah, we're going to have you call in, Don, if you have time.
You can text me the number.
Yeah, I'm going to text you the number. So I'll send that to you in just a second. Okay, well, thank you, John. And his insight is going to be very important because he talks to his son daily about what's happening in downtown Louisville. And he does remember Fadi, Donald Miller Jr. So, or actually the 3rd. So stand by for that.
Okay, while we're waiting for that, I want to introduce some folks here that are going to join in on our discussion on free speech, and if they want to have any comments about the situation that Fadi's in and how he's trying to stand up. First, I want to introduce Lee Roosen, 2 Super Bowl championships with the New York Giants. He paid his penance in life by getting traded to the Cleveland Browns at the end of his career, and just an all-around good man. And so we want to welcome Lee to the Life Aid Town Hall.
Well, hello, everybody. First of all, the NFL for 7 years stood for the National Football League. And for one brief moment, it stood for not for long because it was over. But now it stands for newfound life. Because I have a newfound life in what I do right now, and I have a company called Move Your Chains. It's a consulting company. And our mission is to help others move toward their goals and overcome the challenges that they face. So I take the sport acumen of if anybody knows about football, about moving the chains to the place of mentality for the human condition. And I'm responding to the theme today. I got a phone call from a friend of mine named Ed Nicholson. He used to be a member of a Christian rock group called the Three Crosses. He said, Lee, I got a daughter graduating to go to high school and a son graduating to go to Fairleigh Dickinson and college on a soccer scholarship. Can you give them like a 2-minute inspirational type of encouragement? And so I did it. And he shared these 2-minute inspirational talks to his children with a whole group of friends. So there's one brother who was African-American who was married to a Caucasian woman. He goes, oh yeah, I heard about that Lee Roosen guy. He says he's not black. He's a child of God. And as my friend told me that, I responded. I said, listen, I never said that. I said, I'm a child. Who I am is I'm a child of God. I didn't say I was a Christian, like I'm like Pentecostal or Catholic or some other kind of religion. I said I'm a child of God, and I also said that black is a part of who I am, or African American, or chocolate. That's a part of my flavor. It's a part of my identity, but it's not the source. It's not the power source that I'm plugged into that gives me energy. If it was, what kind of black should I be? Should I be a fearful black? Should I be a bushy black? Should I be I want to be white black? What black should I be? If there's different connotations of black, because just like I remember when I was in college, I read this essay by James Baldwin. He says, white is a lie, and so is black. And the point he was making is that these type of identities are mentalities. And so the point that I'm making, and I said, I know that, again, a part of, there's many parts to my identity. But the point I'm making is the foundation that I stand upon as far as the energy that I derive, the power that I get to play all the different roles in my life. Husband, father, son, brother, friend.
That's his name.
Okay, that's who I am. That's where I get my power source from. And I'm sharing this in this talk tonight because I want everybody, if you haven't already realized, a lot of what's going on in the country right now in our lives is that our identity is the lens that we look at everybody else. Our identity becomes the lens is how we look at life. When you choose an identity that's limiting, that's how you're going to see other people. That's how you're going to see everything in your life. And that's the biggest challenge for all of us. Who are you for real? What do you have a purposeful identity in your life? Are you living according to what somebody else has told you who you are? Are you living, or have you chosen a false identity? Now, you know, when you look at something false, right? It looks like the real thing. It feels like the real thing. You think it's real, but it's counterfeit. I always ask people all the time, do you know why there's not a such thing as a counterfeit $3 bill in America? Because there's no real one. There's nothing that's originally fake, false, or counterfeit. If anything is false, if anything is fake, it's only because there's something that's real. So here's the choice that all of us have, because we're not born winners, we're not born losers, we're born choosers. Are you going to choose what's real, or are you going to choose what's false or counterfeit? And unfortunately, based on our feelings in life, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about other people, a lot of us choose false identities. Now, that's none of my business. When I go into schools, I've been in the school since 1995. I've never told anybody who they are. When I go into a school, into a public school or parochial school, if I'm on the streets, if I'm in a church, if I'm in a corporate office or meeting, I don't listen. I'm not here to tell you who you are. That's none of my business. But I'm here to present this very present to you. Who are you? Once you decide who you are for real, that purposeful identity, then you can begin to become it. You begin to live it and act like it. And unfortunately, the type of identity a lot of us are choosing is such a limit to it. And that's how we see other people. That's how we see everything that's going on.
No,
So here's the challenge right here. Who are you for real?
And just so you know, a shameless plug, next week's town hall is on identity. So we're going to get into that in a big way. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Made some great points. Thanks, Lee. Okay, I think we have Dawn now is called in. Fadi. So Dawn, are you there?
Roger, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So Fadi, so you run a smoke shop, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. My son, Officer Miller from the 4th Division, he knows you well. He doesn't smoke, but he buys cigarettes from you because when he arrests people, a lot of times they're very, very nervous and they have a lot of anxiety and they smoke. And so he asks them if they want a cigarette, and that way it kind of calms them down and stuff. So anyway, he's told me about your shop many times during the original riots and things like that. He said, everything was boarded up and a bunch of stuff was busted, but it's not your shop because you stood right in the doorway like frankly, like a real American who owns a piece of this country and didn't let anybody come into your store. So, one of the things that you were talking about in regards to the police officers in Louisville, a lot of this stuff, to be honest with you, reminds me of my time when I was in Iraq. I was with the Iraqis all the time. I was an advisor with the Iraqis. And there are people who benefit from a lot of this disruption and destruction and things along those lines. And what they do is they put a lot of resources and time and money into that. You'll notice that most of the people that are, destroying things, and causing a lot of the big trouble in Louisville are not from Louisville. They're from other places. And when you saw like those U-Hauls pull up, those supplies and those trucks and everything were paid for by, outside resources. And so I think it's important to remember that the people in many cases that are involved in the city of Louisville are super good people. Okay, these are people that live in areas that have not turned around their schools and have not turned around their macroeconomies in those areas. And you have, generation after generation of people who are kind of pigeonholed into the type of life that they're going to have. And my son, who's a police officer, and he's also an Army Reserve military policeman, CID agent, is that he likes to spend time with all of those people, and he knows them. And his point during all of this is that much of the anger and the angst and everything comes from misinformation that gets out early, and it's propagated by various people in order to create a narrative. And so in Louisville, it's the narrative that matters from the media. It's the narrative that matters from some of these larger national organizations that have come into Louisville to be part of the destruction. It's a narrative. It's not fact. It's not objective. It's a narrative. And it's important that everybody, you were aware of all this, but he said, look, the people, focus on the people here. Focus on the people that really are the ones who are just trying to have a really good life. When I was in Iraq, I'd say 80, 90% of all the Iraqis that I was around, or all the Iraqis that I saw, wanted good schools for their kids, and they wanted to have a job, and they wanted to have, community resources. They could go to parks and things like that. And they're being manipulated by the radical 10 to 20% that are manipulating those people. And so anybody who has, at least this is what my son would tell you, anybody who has an issue with the larger group of people that are protesting, just remember that all those people have real lives, and they just want everything to be like the American dream, for lack of a better term. They don't, they reject the violence. They reject the radicalism. What they promote is that they have a voice, that they matter, right? That the people that no one seems to care about when they get killed or murdered or whatever, this isn't just about the cops either. If you look at how bad the violence is in a lot of our cities, and you look at both the victims and the propagators of the violence, both of those populations are victims of, larger policies, governmental issues, industry, media. The media they sell stories, they sell narratives. So he specifically refers to you as a great example of why people that are new to this country seem to cherish the country more than people that have been here, because they're aware of, the uniqueness that is the American experiment, just like people like myself and others who have served overseas for a number of years. When you come back to the United States, you go, wow, we have a really great opportunity here. But it's only a great opportunity if everybody breaks through the corporate interests and the media narratives and all the rest of this, and realize that everybody wants their kids to go to a good school and have a good job and all that. So anyway, I just wanted to comment on that because, like I said, he mentioned you some time ago, actually, when this stuff really kicked off, and that you're, you try to help the police officers, and if they need a drink or whatever, you're there for them, and they appreciate you very much as well.
Thank you.
Hey, look up Penn Station and see what you want. I'll grab Penn Station.
So we have
Thank you, Don, very much for being part of the discussion today. Really appreciate it. You're my best friend, and I love you, brother.
I love you too.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure talking to you.
So
I'm glad you're in Louisville.
Thank you.
Louisville is a great city. I've been there many times, and when I talked to Fadi last time, I hope I get to go back again here soon, and I'll make sure to come by and say hi in person. But we have a few other guests that I want to introduce that have been involved in our town halls, and as we talk about free speech and not allowing the cancel culture to blunt your free speech. We have Pastor Charles Jackson with us and Admiral Kibben, and together they hosted a live town hall a couple weeks ago, along with Clyde Jones in near Mobile, Alabama, where we were talking about free speech and the use of the Confederate flag and whether it was hate or heritage, and how that upset a community as well. Not the same type of the violence that Fadi's dealing with, but still free speech and the mob. And so, Pastor Jackson, if you're there and can say a few words, and then Admiral Kibben right after, I'd appreciate it.
I say good evening to everyone. Thank you again, John, and just glad to be on board, and whatever we can assist with down here in the Mobile, Alabama area, we're definitely in to support, and thank God for all the veterans that are on the line and for all you all do. And I just believe that we all can set the example and set the model for the entire country when we can all come together and then show them how it can be done. And I'm just so heartbroken that we're this place in our country, but know that even with a broken heart that it can be healed. And I just pray that God can use us as vessels to help the healing. And just wanted to say hello to everyone and just thanks again.
Yeah, and I'm going to connect you up with Lee Roosen, who spoke earlier. I don't know if you caught the tail end of his talk.
I think I did. I think I caught some of it.
Admiral Kibben, are you there? Are you still with us?
I sure am. And it's wonderful to hear my brother, Pastor Jackson. Thank you, my friend. I was just talking about you yesterday. These are very challenging times, and Fadi, my heart goes out to you. I really appreciate what Don said about you, about being able to stand for your piece of land, your piece of American land, and I know that has to be heartbreaking for you to watch your compatriots turn on you. This is a really very challenging time. I will share with the group, I spent quite a bit of time yesterday, about 3 hours, with a woman who, she's 71 right now. She's an African-American woman, and she grew up in North Carolina. She grew up with segregation, and then she went on to be an actress, and then from that point on served in four different presidential advisory boards, serving both Democrats and Republicans, and representing the Black community, as well as just this idea of who we are as humanity. She is an incredibly deep soul. Her name is Pat Ware. And I received such profound wisdom from her as she moved into downtown Raleigh, into the hood in downtown Raleigh, and came to know her neighbors. She at that point was fairly well off. She had established herself, but she made a point of getting to know the people in her neighborhood, just knocking on the doors. And she shared a number of issues that have been raised here, kind of the Blackism, that is the racism that takes place within the Black community. Are you Black enough? Are you, what kind of Black are you, as Lee Roosen was talking about? How does that play out just even within the Black community? And then turned the tables on those of us who are white, and thinking in terms of our responsibility to repent of what our history is. We don't have to be ashamed by our past and our history. And hear me out here. Obviously, we didn't grow up in the 1600s or the 1700s, but we do have, as white Americans, we do have a privilege that others don't enjoy. And what we really need to do is own our responsibility to repent of that and to acknowledge the fact that there are people of different color, of different experiences, of different nationalities and backgrounds, and that it's on us as the people who've sort of established ourselves here to open our eyes to the fact that there are different experiences, that there are different lenses through which America has been seen. And we have, and hearing Fadi's story from Jordan, and I've spent quite a bit of time in Jordan, and to say, for him to say, I've left Jordan, which is a country of extreme prejudice, mostly from a religious perspective, to come to America and to have established himself in a business, only to have his countrymen to turn against him. Shame on us. And yet, this is an experiment. When our founding parents, I will offer, when those who founded America established democracy and this republic, they said it was an experiment. And Benjamin Franklin, when he walked out the door, having written the Declaration of Independence, a woman approached him and said, "So what is it we have? Do we have a monarchy or do we have a democracy?" And he says, "Well, we have a democracy, but it's up to us to keep it." And so our responsibility is to continually fight for the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, for the freedom to be Americans, but not at the expense of anyone else. This is who we are, and as Americans, and it's on us to keep this experiment a success and to serve as a city upon the hill. So I really appreciate hearing your story, Fadi, and Lee, thank you for sharing your comments as well. And of course, Pastor Jackson, I love you, even though I can't see you.
Love you as well.
That's awesome. So Clyde, you're the birthday boy. We're going to let you have a few words here. Clyde, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm
There you
here.
go.
I'm here. Thank you for the birthday. Yeah, I had to unmute myself. So thank you again for the birthday wishes. It was a great birthday yesterday, so I appreciate that. It's great being with you all, and you know, it's heartbreaking to hear what's going on in Louisville, and we all have a. I mean, both sides of the issue is very serious. I mean, we have to be able to stand for and protect our property. We have to be able to defend what we have. But both sides of the issue have I think they instigate what's going on both sides of the issue, and I think it's beneficial to both sides to have the problems that we have. So we certainly need to as Americans, and we talk about Americans, that's everybody. She talked about how, you know, the prejudice that black folks, you know, show towards each other, and Lee mentioned something about, you know, the different types of black. Me being a fair-skinned black person, I've dealt with that my entire life. You know, I've been mistaken for Middle Eastern. I've been mistaken for Puerto Rican. You know, and all of that is fine because I have that in my background. Actually, all of that. But we as Americans, and I'm a military veteran. I retired after 21 years in the Army, and I spent, you know, time in Iraq, Desert Storm. So I've been over there. I've worked with Iraqis. I've worked with all those. But as Americans, we have to recognize that we need to move the country forward. There's no place in our history where we need to go back to, because black folks weren't treated in any correctly in any of those eras. I asked someone once before, what do we have to go back, making great again? So at what point, are we going back to the 50s when black people didn't have any rights at all, or couldn't even vote, couldn't do anything? What are we going back to? So we have to really, really seriously look at what the issues are. I am not for us destroying our property. I'm not for us destroying, but 95% of people that protest are protesting peacefully. But you have that small percentage who instigates trouble and who actually tries to encourage trouble for whatever reason it might be. They may have different motives. They may benefit from the trouble. They may somehow have, and someone mentioned how a lot of the people who cause trouble come in from other areas, and that's very true. They come in from other areas, but we have to, as a country, come together and understand each of us has a right to live, to prosper, to do to have a great education, to be free to speak. We talk about freedom of speech. We all have that right. But as Major Kivin says, because we have that right, doesn't mean that we should take away anybody else's right, because we have that right to do so. I read something the other day that pro-white, and some of you might get upset, pro-white groups automatically assume a pro-black group is against everybody else, because they are. If you look at some of the pro-white organizations, the KKK or whatever, they're automatically against other groups. Just because a group is pro-black doesn't mean they're against anybody else. But you do have those people that are in groups that are against other organizations. But we can't automatically assume because somebody says Black Lives Matter that they mean that nobody else matters. We can't assume that. So I know I've been rambling and talking too much, but I just want to say a little something because this is a great conversation. And Fadi, definitely praying that all goes well and that things turn around in Louisville. I love Louisville myself. I remember driving through Louisville with my 12-year-old daughter at the time. She's 33 now. And she says, I want to live in this city. I said, why do you want to live in this? It just looks good. We were going across the bridge there in Louisville. It just looks great. So it is a great city. And I hate to see this happen in any city in our country, obviously. So we need to continue to work to make things better. And thank you, John, for giving me this time to talk some, but I appreciate you very much.
No, I appreciate you guys, and that Alabama experience we'll be forever bonded, the four of us, for as long as we live, because that was just a really neat experience. I want to bring the kids in. We have a lot of high school kids here. Most of them, Fadi, are immigrants themselves, or are children of immigrants that came to this country. And so I think they have a good perspective. I think we ought to start with the mayor. So Yasmin, if you're there, we're going to kick your group into high gear here, and we're going to hear some of these high school kids. Yasmin, are you there? There you go.
Yes, I'm here. Hello. I just wanted to talk to Fadi, and I just wanted to let him know that I understand what you're going through, because my family also just recently bought a small business themselves, so I can't imagine how difficult it must be, especially during these hard times. Sometimes some people do act out during these protests, but we also have to understand their point of view, and even though what they did was wrong, that shouldn't belittle their purpose and what they're fighting for. But I definitely do agree with you that humans are humans, and like other people have said, we get lost in this limited identity. And well, I just want to let you know, Fadi, that I support you, and I hope that you stay safe and your family stays safe, and you have all my support.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Can I say something,
Sure.
though?
Yes.
All right. I want everybody to understand one thing. I see everybody equally. as a human beings. I don't see color. I'm not against any type of protest in any way or shape or form. Are you guys still there?
Yep.
Okay. But there is better way to handle the issue that we have and the division that we have these days. Handle it in a better perspective. As I said, I understand the point that they're coming out with. I have no issue with it, but hijacking this movement and basically doing the things that, I'm not saying all of them, I will never say all of them, but there is a good percentage of them, and how they're handling things and how they're destroying stuff, and it's not right. That's what I'm against. I am not against anybody in any way or shape or form. I do understand the point that they are fighting for, which is I am all for it, and I have no issue with it. But at the same time, we have to find a better way to handle this issue and fix it. We have to learn from our history and fix the issues that we have in the future for a better future for everybody, not for certain people. And I'm one of the people that I am against something is called black, white, purple, green, yellow, or anything like that, because I do handle a lot of customers when we were all open for businesses, and whenever they say, "Oh, I'm black," or "I'm white," or I'm this," I'm like, I don't think you are. Treat yourself as a human being, and that's the most important point. You are a human being. You're either a good human being or a bad human being. Nothing other than that. The color doesn't make sense, which is to the point, oh, I'm black. No, you're not, because the color black is totally different and nobody can look like it. Oh, I'm white. No, you don't. You're not white. The color itself is just keep dividing ourselves. That's where it gets us in trouble. And the division that we have these days in this country, in my personal opinion, and this is my own perspective on it, and everybody has different opinion. The division we have, it's because we ourselves, we're not trying to fix ourselves from the inside out. So the the fact is, I hope the next generation and our generation stop calling each other with a color. We don't need to basically, I don't know how to put it in a perspective. We need to stop calling each other white, black, Arab, Muslims, Christian, Jew. We are all human beings and we have to stand up for each other. And that's what the founding fathers, they fought for, of this country. And that's my point. I guess I took too long. I'm so
No,
sorry. I
you're
apologize.
just fine. And just so you know more about American history than most people that are in elected office right now. So good for you. I want to bring in Mike Haynes, and then I'm going to throw it back to the kids because I know Mike's going to have to go here shortly. But Mike Haynes was NFL Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion with the L.A. Raiders in 1984. and was voted one of the top 100 players of all time. And we're glad to have him with us. So, Mike, take it away.
Well, thank you, John. Fadi, I just want to say I love you, bro. I totally get where you're coming from. The comments that you have made and Clyde have made are, to me, right on point. I can tell you as a kid growing up, I was proud to be an American, period, the end. Not Black American,
Yep.
Just American. And I'll never forget this. During the Watts riots, I grew up in LA. And in the summer, we go to the Hollywood boys clubs every day. We walk 2 miles there and 2 miles home at the end of the day. Have a lot of experiences just walking back and forth in Hollywood. But when the Watts riots happened and I showed up at the Hollywood Boys Club, people said to me, "Hey, why are your people rioting?" I said, "My people?" I said, "Yeah, why are your people rioting?" I said, "What do you mean my people? I thought you guys were my people." I was so mixed up, but I was growing up thinking, I'm an American. It doesn't matter. Let's not think about the past. Let's just think about the future. And let's just all look at ourselves as Americans. If we can do that, we probably can get along and things will be a little bit different. But everybody likes to talk about whatever, white, black, yellow, brown, red. And I really do think that Fadi brings a good point, just to say we're human beings. I wish we could get to the point where everybody thought that way and felt that way about a lot of the things that happened. But there is a lot of history behind a lot of the things that have happened, and we don't always know the history. And that's what makes it difficult to understand why people have such a tough time making the transition and just saying we're human beings. They feel like they're owed something. They should be paid something. But I think, talking about it like we're doing today makes a difference. And I think it has a huge impact. And so I just want to thank all you guys that are sharing your experiences like that. And hopefully we will come to some kind of agreement where we can all feel good about each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I want to bring in Arturo. He's one of the junior ROTC cadets, and he's participated in quite a bit of our conversations over the last 6-8 weeks. So, Arturo, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, John. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Well, if I could add anything to what's already been said, it would be that I agree strongly with that message, that it'd be very helpful for all of us to just fall under one flag and support each other like that. Because I don't think it doesn't seem very surprising to me that people or groups of people resort to tribalism. I think that's a very common thing. Whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's nationality or class, I think it's bound to happen that people want to be within a community in which they feel comfortable with. Which is why I find it very disappointing or very saddening to see the media or certain organizations that push an anti-American narrative, which is a lot of what fuels violent riots. The common justification for anarchism like that, which is revolution through violent means, is that they believe that the system is inherently racist, which I think is a very poor, a very bad misrepresentation of what our system is. I do not believe that the country was founded on any type of superiority like that. So yeah, I think it's very counterproductive to push that type of narrative, because it just blocks out any possibility for discussion or for progression. You know what I'm saying? it like eliminates the whole system and doesn't give us anything to work with. So that's my piece.
That's really nice. Thanks, Arturo. Sergeant Mexica, I don't know if you have any of your other cadets on that want to speak, because I don't know who all of them are. I know there's a bunch of them that are called in, so I don't know if you want to just call on them or just ask them to unmute and speak. I think we lost Yasmin's back. So if you have any others that, or if you want to say anything.
I see Mary and Kimberly on there. You know, and in fact, I was typing it here, John, if you don't mind. You know, I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in Kansas, as obviously I'm a Chiefs fan, but I love the Raiders though. But and the 60s, you know, even though all the Browns lived on one side of the railroad tracks and all the white lived on the other side, we weren't brought up that way. You know, my father volunteered to go to World War II. He wasn't drafted. He didn't have to go, but he went out of what the country had given his father when he migrated from Mexico. So I was never brought up to look at people by their color. And I think if we start like Fadi says, if we call each other black, white, brown, Asian, whatever, we're separating ourselves.
Exactly.
And by doing that, we're already causing a problem. You know, so I grew up, I couldn't care less, you know, what you were. You know, if you were a good person, it didn't matter. I never really even saw that. When we moved here to California, we moved here during the Watts riots. When we came from Kansas to California, we came in the middle of the Watts riot. I was in the middle of the Rodney King riots in L.A. when our military processing station burned down. We were on the roof when they burned the colonel's car down. You know, so I just don't get it. I've never seen it that way. You know, I was in the military for 22 years before I retired, and we really could care less. I mean, all we care about is that you got my back, I got your back. You know, you fire to the left, I fire to the right. Okay, we're good to go. You know, so I'm just really confused with this whole issue that's going on right now. We have to stop separating ourselves by calling each other different colors. And I think I taught my kids that. I try to teach that in JROTC. But you know, it's a fast. You know, we're a young country. You know, we're only like 200 some years old. You know, some of these other countries have been around for centuries. You know, since the birth. You know, and they still are having issues. You know, so you know we're getting there. You know, it might take us a little while longer, but you know we're going to make our mistakes. We're going to stumble every now and then. We're going to take a step back, take two forward, take a step back. But you know, we'll get there eventually at some point in time. Hopefully during my time, but if not, hopefully in the kids' times when they grow up, or my kids' time. But I do see some other cadets. I see Kimberly there and Mary there.
All right, so
Emily. Yeah, let's get Kimberly on the phone. Let's get her on.
Kimberly, are you there?
Yes, I'm
here. So if you could please introduce yourself, tell us the school you go to, and then you can say whatever you want to say.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Kimberly Sidora, and I'm from James Monroe High School in the JROTC program.
Whoops, she accidentally hung up on herself. She'll come back, and we'll jump in with her. But I was going to say, to your point, Sergeant Mexica, I grew up in Pacoima, Arleta, if you know that area, in the East San Fernando Valley. Very ethnic neighborhood. If you got out of line, you got your ass beat. So I mean, it was a self-policing operation there, as far as you know how it was, because there was such a big, especially in the 60s and the late 60s, especially, you know, it was like you had the African Americans, the Hispanics, the Asians, the whites. So everybody had to get along, and we all went to school together. So it wasn't a big deal. And you know, if someone said something that someone didn't like, you know, it was a different era. Like I said, you got your ass beat. So it was a self-equalizing opportunity.
Can I add something that's I went through, if you guys don't mind. And by the way, I appreciate every veteran out there. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you all. And I'm going to say this. I was in 8th grade back in Jordan. And I yelled at my teacher once. And I was in the right. So my dad finds out and he comes in the next day. And this is exactly what happened. My dad comes up in the lineup in the front of 900 children or 900 kids in my school. And he goes with his finger, like, come here. Whipped my ass for one thing and one thing only. Because he found out that I yelled at my teacher. And then he looked at every kid in the school. He was like, which is, my dad is an ex-military, by the way, just to give you the heads up. He was in the special forces back in the days. And he goes, if I hear any of you disrespect any teacher in this damn school, I'm going to come back and burn it to the ground with everybody in it. Literally. I mean, I had every teacher in my school, principals, all the kids, they were terrified of my dad. It was to that point. It's so speaking about that, it's just like it hits me up like how this young generation these days are not respecting even themselves. We're not talking only about the disrespecting to other people and dividing each other. And plus, you got a lot of things out there. Basically, you got the media playing its agenda, whatever, and you got people that they are brainwashed to the point that they think they are different than everybody else, or better than everybody else, or they're less than everybody else. That's it.
So,
I just want to say.
Thanks, Fadi. We got Kimberly back.
Yeah.
Kimberly, are you there?
Yes, sorry.
Yes,
I was moving my hair and yeah, I accidentally clicked.
Okay, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I completely agree with him, with Fadi. I understand. Okay, I agree with everyone that we shouldn't see color, and of course that we shouldn't, and that's what these protests are about. We're trying to gain equality, but I agree. How do I say? I support the protests, but I absolutely don't support when they loot or riot those small businesses because they don't deserve that. They're hardworking, and I completely agree with what everyone's saying. We shouldn't see color like that. We should all be colorblind when it comes to race, and I hope in my lifetime we can achieve that.
Well, you guys are the next generation to lead us, so hopefully that'll happen. Emily, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what's going on in your school.
I'm Emily Vasquez. I'm from James Monroe High School in the ROTC program.
Okay.
I just want to say I like fully agree with Fadi, and I understand why he's protecting his store, and I agree with the protest, but like Kimberly said, I do not appreciate the looting and everything else they're doing. We are fighting for equality, but this will not get us anywhere because it's just putting everything down and everyone. So how do I say this? They shouldn't do it in that way. If we want equality, we should protest, but The looting has to stop because it's not going to get us anywhere.
Okay. Fadi, I have a question for you. Do you think they
Yes, sir.
target, and I'm talking about the, we all agree that there's a group of people who have economic interest in chaos, the out of towners, we'll call them. Do you think that they target certain types of small businesses as a way to create that chaos?
Absolutely. There is a lot of groups out there, and actually, let me put it this way: it's not only about the outer towners. Um, it's about the people from inside the community. They are destroying their own community in the name of what they so-called Black Lives Matter or anything like that. It's just like I know for a fact, and I want to put this out there the way it is without sugarcoating nothing. And I want the kids to understand this point. Destroying your own community is not going to get you anywhere. I mean, I have a customer of mine. She's about 68 years old. She doesn't drive no more. She doesn't have a driver license or anything like that. Um, they had to shut down the CVS that got destroyed next to us. And so to go to get her own medicine, she had to go almost about 2.5 miles away, take the bus to go get her own medicine from a Kroger store, that's the closest Kroger store that we have. That's why, like, we need to understand it's this movement. I again, I am not against any type of protest as long it's type of peaceful. But at the same time, we need to understand that we have to do it in a better way, which is communicate with each other, talk to each other, understand how we feel, um, and understand one thing, that we are all equal. We are all human beings. So, and that's basically what people, they are trying to deny themselves that ability to talk to other people. um Look, I love this conversation, and I wish if we could do more to basically destroy something is called the divide in this country. Look, there is a lot of people that, that's why I appreciate law enforcement, military, and all these people, that they put themselves on the line to protect the communities and to defend this country. Um, I mean, I wish, and I hope we get to the point that we all agree on one point and one point only. We are all equal, and we are all Americans. And that's the bottom line.
No, it is the bottom line. That's what the whole Voice Project is about. And I can tell you, from all of us here, Fadi, I mean, you're part of the family now, so we're all going to be rooting for you and looking out for you. And I know you're kind of there by yourself, but just know that you can always reach out to me. You have all my contact information now. You need anything.
Sure.
We have a lot of vets. Brian Monahan's on this call. He's in your area. Um, I see
Sure.
that Coach Lev has joined us, and I want to bring him in. Coach Lev is a boxing instructor. He's part of our partnership with USA Boxing. He hosted our very first live town hall back in July, which was a test run for what we did in Alabama. And I definitely want you, Coach Lev, to meet Pastor Jackson. The rest of our crew is had to leave. But anyway, Coach Lev, how you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm doing well. Sorry I logged in late there. I'm in the middle of a training camp, and I had some sparring going on today, but it's going well. It's going well. Blessed to be alive. All right, man. Yep. I caught the tail end of Fadi's conversation there. And one of the things that sticks out to me that I think we all been kind of pounding as one of our strong points there is just about communication. Communication. We're not going to get anywhere until we slow down enough. And I say we, I'm talking about everybody. You know, it's not no race or gender, just in general. Until we have a conversation, honest conversation, and I'm not going to be offended by what you say or how you feel. But then that's how we find that happy medium when we're talking about bridging the gap. You know what I'm saying? So, again, we're still pushing on this end. I'm scheduled to have a little meeting. I use you all's phrase, the town hall, with a bunch of my parents and my kids tomorrow in my gym. I'm going to sit down and talk to them. We've got school is kind of opening up, and I just want to communicate with them because, you know, the area that my gym is in, of course, we spoke about that. The kids are not as fortunate as other kids, and some of them are military kids, but a lot of them are not. So, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, you know, if they need some help, then our village right here, Triple Threat, we can figure it out together. But if we don't communicate, and then nobody knows, as they say in the country, closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly.
And if we all could approach what's going on in the world now in a more mild manner, instead of everybody can't be on 10. Everybody can't be on 10. Where if you don't hear me or you're not listening to me, or if you're yelling, it's no different than us talking to our kids. If we sit down and talk to our kids in a calm voice, they're going to pay attention. But if we're yelling, I did it as a kid. Hell, I do it as an adult. I'm going to tune it out. You might say some of the most important stuff in the world. You might have some of the greatest ideas in the world, but if you don't communicate that or don't know how to communicate it, then is it really a great idea? Because, you know, as my dad used to say, and I ask you all, what's the richest place on earth? It's the graveyard, because so many people fail to communicate their ideas and their thoughts and their plans, and they die with that stuff. And I refuse to be one of those people. That's the statistics I don't want to have nothing to do with. I want to share everything that I got. You know, that's how we learn to live.
Exactly.
We'll live forever. We live forever. I speak my mom and dad words all the time. And God rest them, but they'll live forever because I'm going to teach it to somebody else, and they're going to teach it to somebody else. And their words and their morals and thoughts will live forever. But we got to come together. And like, everybody can't be a victim. Everybody can't be on 10. You know? So I'm glad we have these town halls.
We need more of you in the world, Coach.
Hey,
you know, I don't know about that, Miss Renata. If they clone another me, it'd be one too many.
Hey, Coach Lev, yeah. I connected you up with Zach Guzman. Did you see the email I sent you yesterday?
Well, I probably did. I got some notes I got to go back over this evening before I lay down. So to follow up on everything.
Follow up. He's a vet in the Colorado Springs area. He wants to get involved in those town halls you're talking about. And also don't forget about Patrick Nelson from the TV station. He wants to meet up with you still.
Okay. Yeah. I remember I did talk to him once after our town hall meeting here. And I guess I've been in 2 different training camps since then. And, you know, it's a blessing, but then it's very time consuming. I got 2 more that starts Thursday. I had another kid that's former junior world champ that's making another run at it. So his manager called me, and I got to start. I think I started training him Thursday or Friday. So it's a good thing, that everybody's kind of, we kind of feel like we're getting the shackles taken off us with the COVID stuff going on, and everything's starting to get to the new normal, I guess.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
We have another new person I want to introduce to the group. He's from, I believe he's from Long Beach, and he's involved in a lot of stuff here in the city of Los Angeles on this issue and these topics. This is his very first town hall. I'm going to put him on the spot a little bit. He'll get used to that. All right, Renata? But Pastor Cedric Nelms, if you're there, if you can unmute, there you are. Hit the red button on your screen. There you go. And I want to first off introduce you to Coach Lev, who's in Colorado Springs, and then also we have Pastor Charles Jackson is in Daphne, Alabama, and we have folks from all over the country. And we're talking about free speech, and we got our friend. I'm not sure how much you heard about Fadi and his situation in Louisville, but he's right in the middle of all the rioting and stuff going on in Louisville. So if you could introduce yourself to the group and just kind of talk about the work you do real quick, I'd love that.
Okay, Cedric Nelms. I am born and raised in Los Angeles. Currently live in a community called Carson, which is close to Compton, Gardena, Long Beach. Just a little background. I born and raised in LA. Spent a little bit of time in Atlanta. I attended Morehouse College in Atlanta. Came back to LA. Been in ministry for, I don't know, about 20, I think it's 22, 23 years. And as John said, I kind of got my hands in a lot of different things. But pastoring is the main thing that I'm doing right now. I am working for an organization, Christian Mission Organization, as their city director here in Los Angeles, connecting pastors and churches, helping them carry out the expression of Christ in their context. Also working with an organization called Rewire as well, to where they're having, helping them develop fresh expressions in Kingdom Outposts here in the LA area. Leading in two different men's organizations, King Movement being one. King Movement got started by Chris Broussard, used to be on ESPN, now he's on Fox Sports West. So I'm the LA chapter president for that. Also just got named to be the director for the Remand Project, which will be working with men that are coming out of prison and, those who are maybe in probation, whatever the case might be, kind of helping them get developed from a character psychological perspective. And, pastoring the church my wife and I planted back in 2010. We're a micro church of about 50 to 60 people, to where our hashtag is we do church differently. So I'm the jeans and t-shirt pastor, as they call it. And been married. My wife and I just celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary last month. We got 5 kids ranging in age from, our oldest, Erica, is 34. She just turned 34. I got a 29-year-old son, and I have a set of triplets that are 19, 2 boys and a girl. And so that's pretty much me in a nutshell of what I do on a day-to-day process.
That's awesome. You got your hands full with all those kids.
Yeah, and they're young adults, so they really don't they don't deal with their daddy that much, only when they need some money, and so that's why I try to keep myself busy as much as possible. And then my wife and I just started our community resource center to help enhance community resource center. So. And
just so everybody knows, Cedric's going to be on our panel for our big live town hall on November 10th here in LA. So. You know how I always like to get the faith community involved, and we're actually trying to create a network of of leaders across the country, and we got several of them on this call. Pastor Jackson, I just want to have you say hello to Cedric because I wanted to introduce you guys.
There we go. I'm here. Hey Cedric, good to see you, my brother.
How you doing, brother?
Doing well. We keep you in your prayer. They're gonna put you in a copy machine. Look, you got a lot going on there.
Got a lot going on, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
we'll definitely keep you in prayer, man. Looking forward to us, uniting and changing this world and having it to be what I believe our founders, and more importantly, what I believe God wants it to be.
Amen.
And you heard a lot of good stuff on thus far as all of us being seen just as a human race, and that's how God sees us. But I also believe in us being able to embrace our diversities and not let it separate us.
Right.
And just hearing the different stories that I was able to get in, it pulls me closer to you all rather than separating us.
Amen.
And I think that's amazing to hear the difference, but yet draw closer to one another.
Right.
And I think that was part of the biblical problem, going spiritual on you with the Jews and the Gentiles, that they had a hard time embracing the Gentiles.
That's right.
God said, bring them in.
That's right. That's right.
So that's always my viewpoint on us solving the problem that we have in this country, is that if we're supposed to be one nation under God, let's be one nation under God.
Amen. Amen.
And if if the founders said it, that's what they meant, then it's up to us at this point in time in our history to do something to help move the needle forward.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. King did what they could do. John Lewis, they did what they could do. Now it's time for us to take it a little bit further.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm here to support it in whatever way I can. God bless each and every person that's on the line. Pray for everybody and everyone's family.
And then Cedric, I want to introduce you to Lee Roosen. Lee was a running back for the New York Giants and 2 Super Bowls. He spoke earlier, but I wanted to personally allow Lee to introduce himself to you.
Hey, brother Cedric, how you doing?
How you doing, brother? Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I play with a lot of boys in Colorado, man, from Carson and Compton. All of those brothers from LA, man. I brought back memories back in the 80s. But like Pastor Jackson, I use a football analogy, man. Football, the thing is, man, we were all different, man. Like we was in the huddle, right? We were all different. We had guys from every part of America or some parts of other parts of the world. They were different flavors or different nationalities. But we had one vision.
Right.
There was a spirit of unity. Okay, there was a sense of urgency that okay, when you have a conversation, when you're in a huddle, you get to play, but you don't just stay in there and socialize. You got to come out and come to a line of scrimmage and run that play and press on toward the goal. So that's exactly, I really believe we're called to possess the land. We're called to move forward,
right,
to overcome the challenges that we face. So when we in the huddle, when we have like this kind of conversation, this town hall right here, when we all come to a place of truth and again focus, and that's I look forward to meeting with you and again and just working on purposeful identity, in all of our lives. Because I think that once human beings, once we start being who we are, truly, it's gonna change everything. But I realize everybody's not gonna make that choice.
Right.
So I'm not gonna try to play God. I'm gonna do my job. And I got that from Bill Belichick. I know there may be some people on the line don't like Bill Belichick. I don't know, but anyway, I got that from Bill. He said, he was like, "Yo, Lee, just do your job, okay? Stop worrying about everybody. Do your job.
Do your job."
And I think that when we find as individuals in the huddle on a team, even though we may be different, and we must, like Pastor Jackson said, we must appreciate our differences. But we began to really see that vision, and like Coach L said, we have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And as we hear what's a language that's communicated clearly, then we can see.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can have vision.
Right.
So this voice is like huge, man. This voice right here, communicating a word of truth, man, and again the identity, purposeful identity. I believe, man, that we can move forward as we should and as we can.
And
as
don't
human
forget,
beings.
next week's town hall is on identity, so everyone will get an invite, and we're going to expand on that conversation. I want to get back because we're running up on time, and I know people got to go. I want to come back to Fadi. So Fadi, a couple questions for you. One, are you tied into your faith community at all there in Louisville?
No, at all.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that,
At
Lee?
all.
I said Fadi is keeping it real.
Yes, sir.
It's tough.
It is.
I don't know. I have no clue, but I know it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
So a couple things, because I mean, as great as this conversation has been, we like action steps, and so Fadi, we want to try to help you, and so, how can we help you? How can we help connect you to people? I mean, already you got connected to Don and his son at the Louisville Police Department. We're gonna follow up with that, right, Daryl? Make sure Don Jr. pays him a visit here.
Oh, absolutely. Don Jr. will definitely pay you a visit, Fadi, and he's a great young man. And I can tell you, I've known his father for 40 years. We got commissioned together at Cumberland College down in Williamsburg, Kentucky. We both were armor officers, so we spent a lot of time at Fort Knox, Kentucky. So we're just down the road from you, and he will definitely pay you a visit on numerous occasions. And I'd like to start a GoFundMe account for you to get you some money in your pocket, Fadi. A national GoFundMe account.
Well, I'm one person. I don't like to be a burden on anybody because I know everybody has issues. And my employee actually started a GoFundMe account behind my back, and she didn't tell me about it till she basically did it. And with all the attention from everybody in this country, I actually got people called me personally from Australia, England, Moldova, if I'm saying it right, correct. With the amount of support that I'm getting and at least the attention about what I said we got all over the world it's amazing. And I never ever in my life thought one world on TV could change the whole thing like this. I'll be honest with you. And but at this point, I do have a GoFundMe account. I try to respond to everybody that messaged me. I try to respond to everybody that called me. I try to help my community as much as I can. I haven't lost the faith. And I want to put this out there. We all equal. We all came from Adam and Eve. We all human being, and that's the bottom line. Nothing divided us, and nothing will divide us, except if you are just a different person, think and have some other thoughts. That's a whole different level.
Now, Fadi, John's got Don's phone number, his cell number. So you call Don Miller anytime you want to, and he'll pay you a visit. And his son, who's a Louisville Metropolitan Police Department officer will pay you a visit as well, and we'll take good care of you. So thank you for your courage and your bravery. And if you could also pass that GoFundMe account website to John, I'll try to drum up some money and raise money from the South Bay area here in Los Angeles. Thanks, Fadi.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you, Fadi, after this. But I also wanted to introduce you to Brian Monahan. He's on the line here. He's one of our veterans that does a lot of work with us. He lives in your area, and you have a big military community there in the Louisville area. You got Fort Knox right down the road. So we have. I mean, I just want you to know that when you say you're alone, you're not alone, and certainly everybody here on this town hall is on your side and pulling for you, and want to do everything we can to help. If you ever need someone to talk to, you're part of our Facebook community now and our Voice Project page, and you can always post on there. Someone will contact you or what have you. So you're totally connected to everybody here. And, like I said, you're not alone. Don't ever feel like you're alone. I mean, that's one of our basic tenets of our program is that peer support network and being able to connect to people no matter where they live, work, or reside. So, we're all here. We're all together, and can't thank everybody enough for their contributions, and especially the kids from the ROTC program, because you're our future leaders, and we need to make sure that Mayor Jasmine gets it going.
Absolutely. And First Sergeant Mahika, thank you for getting the kids involved again. We really appreciate it.
No problem, sir. The kids like coming to it. They like listening and learning. They're learning live history. What better way to learn?
Than distance learning with LA Unified, right, Cedric? Cedric's involved in trying to get better education for the kids, and especially those that are really getting the shaft on this distance learning stuff. Anything you want to say in closing, Fadi?
I want to thank everybody for having me, listening to me. I want to thank you personally for reaching out. I appreciate everybody. And if there is anything I could do, just let me know. I'm one phone call away. You got my personal cell phone number. Just let me know. And in closing, I hope we accomplish one thing, that we build a better future for the next generation. And that's basically the most important thing. And let's bring the country back together and make it great, whether everybody likes it or not.
No, thank you. And like you said, I think I'm going to connect you with some folks to make sure you got all the support you need. We're going to do a live in-person town hall that's going to be really important in November. And I know that Cedric and I and a bunch of Daryl and all the folks working on that, the Dodgers, we want it to be a big deal, because that's our message is like, if we're going to, there's two ways you can talk. You can talk and divide people, or you can talk and bring people together. And there's no other third option. And so we're gonna work on some really good things, and we do these every week, and I'll send you invites. Anytime you want to join in for as much or as little as you want. I think all of us would love hearing from you, and like you said, you're part of the family now, so you can't shake us.
Look, I could promise you, I'm going to promise you one thing right now in front of everybody. And I will try try the best I can to be there anytime you guys need me to be with you online or anything like that. Just let me know, and I will try to do the best that I can to be there for you guys. And I really appreciate you so much. Again, I cannot say enough how I'm grateful for all of you being there and saying whatever we just talked about.
Like I said, I mean, I want you to know you're not alone, and I know you're there by yourself, but you're not. You know, we're all here, and I'm going to connect you to Brian, and with your permission, I'll give him your phone number, and he'll
Sure.
connect with you, and he has a whole group of vets. You know, if you need a break and you need someone to look after your shop for a little while, just take a break. You know, we'll figure out some ways to help you with that.
I appreciate it.
And reach out to Don Miller as well. He'll help you as well.
Sure thing.
Yeah, you can't
I
live in that
appreciate
shop
it.
24/7. You got to get out.
Well, I've been doing it for the past 125 days and 125 nights.
Well,
It's that's the sad reality of it, but it is what it is. I gotta do what I
you know,
gotta do. And plus, I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna deny that fact. Like, I have a lot of friends that they offered to come over and stuff like that. But I'm one person. I don't want nobody to get hurt in any way or shape or form, because of me. You know what I mean? It's just because of this situation. I'd rather deal with it myself and just handle it from there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say one thing before we close on this. I appreciate you guys so much, and I appreciate every veteran in this country that fought and died for this country. And I appreciate every law enforcement officer that's trying to protect the community and fix the issues that we have. But we have to get to the point that we all need to work together on this and fix our issues and stop the division between us.
I think you'd get a big
That's
amen
it.
from everybody on this call with that one. All right. Anybody else have anything? Jonathan, you want to say anything, or are you good?
I'm good. This is my first time viewing this entire process. Lots of great people on here, and this was very informative. I added some stuff in on the chat. I told you, John, I wouldn't intervene too much. So it's been fantastic, and you guys are hitting on a lot of the critical topics that have been discussed for years, actually. You know, I helped contribute to the Inspire Change movement in Chicago a couple of years ago, and helped define what those community engagements between athletes, police, and the community should look like, so there can be more cohesion between those entities. So it's great to have these conversations, and it's good to have a focus and a dialogue that keeps solutions and a tangible, realistic set of goals and expectations in front of the country. That way, the people that are rioting and doing all the wrong stuff, they shouldn't have the primary voice.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is trying to find the Cedrics and the Coach Levs and the Pastor Jacksons in all the major cities. You know, we have quite a few that aren't on this call. We have Dr. King in Atlanta, and we have a few other folks, but we need a lot more. So we got to try to keep. That's why Chris connected you to me, because he knows what I'm trying to do, and trying to expand our network.
And just so you understand where I'm coming from, you already saw my resume, but that's only like my job experience. In my other quasi-professional political career, I'm a solutions guy. I was a think tank guy for the Army, and I've designed a lot of major level systems. So far, my project has saved almost $2 billion and counting for the taxpayer. So if you need solutions, if you need someone that can give you a program, a system, a process, a way of thinking, a strategy, feel free to hit me up, anybody. I'll help you out as best
Yeah,
I
I
can.
think Cedric, man, he's got his hands full. He's gonna hit you up too. Get some support there.
Absolutely, share my info with them.
No, that's
I'm
what
all
we
for
do
that.
here. I mean, like I said, when we talk about family, you know, Brian or some of the Overton is here from Oakland. I don't know, Overton, if you want to say anything. I know you've been listening in. Are you there, Overton? Yeah. He might be dealing with his kids. But anyway, you know, it is a family. I mean, Dick Brock here from Orange County, he's been around since 2008. And you know, it's like, you know, gum on your shoe. You know, you can't quite shake it off, but you know, it keeps hanging around. So we must be doing something good. So anyway, yeah, Overton chatted in there. He's dealing with his kids, but anyways, I thank everybody for being on. Is there anybody else that has any parting words of wisdom? Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Appreciate everybody's time, and I look forward to reconvening next Tuesday.
Thank you, John and Hayes. Thank you, Cedric. You did a great job today, and thank you, Fadi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, and be safe and have a good rest of your week.